Real people, real opinions, real talk radio. The multi-award winning Niall Boylan Show.
Ireland's classic hits.
We always like to bring you the wild and wonderful every single night, and we interview somebody interesting. Taylor is on OnlyFans. Now, she's a creator. That's what they call people on OnlyFans nowadays. They're creators. Content creators. And she quit her job just 4 weeks after starting on OnlyFans. Now, for those who don't know what OnlyFans is, and maybe some of you don't, I'd like to think most of you probably do at this stage. It's an app online, and most of you pretend you don't know what it is. It's an app online where I would imagine the audience is primarily men, but women go on it too, and gay men as well. And they subscribe to creators who will, obviously take their clothes off. Now, I think OnlyFans creators object to the word sex worker, but some of them who obviously do perform sexual acts in return for you subscribing to their page. Those subscriptions can vary from, I suppose, $5 or €5 to 20 or 30 to 100, or depends on who you happen to be subscribing to. But Taylor joins me now. Taylor, good evening to you.
Hello, how are you?
How are you? And by the way,
I'm good.
I'm reading here, by the way, Taylor, before we get too much into this and how you started and everything else, that you made $100,000 in just 1 week.
I did. I made, it was 106,000 Australian dollars in 1 week has been my biggest week.
Okay, that for those listening, that's probably about €80,000 in 1 week.
Yeah.
Were you blown away with the very fact that you could make that much money in a short space of time?
It was like I couldn't comprehend what was going on, considering about 8 months prior to that, I was working full time. I had a whole bunch of personal loans and probably about $8 to my name. And then to just create something like that for myself, it was shocking. I couldn't believe it.
So that was like 2 years' salary. 2 years' salary in 7 days.
Yeah, exactly. So my last full-time job, I think my salary was about 70,000 Australian dollars. So yeah, to make more than that in 1 week.
It was incredible. Okay, so let's take us back to the start. So, firstly, you obviously had just heard of OnlyFans. How long are you on it now, by the way?
I've been on it for about a year and 4 months.
Okay, so about a year ago, I suppose, is when it kind of exploded first, really. It became really, really popular. And obviously the owner of OnlyFans, who's British, by the way, is quite a substantial, just quite well out of it. He's a multi-millionaire.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
At this stage, off the backs of everybody else taking their clothes off. I'm pretty sure the owner doesn't take his clothes off. It's a bloke who owns, actually.
He wouldn't have to.
Yeah. So how did you hear about OnlyFans? Or did you know other people that were on it?
So at the time, I actually only knew one girl personally who was on it, but I had definitely heard of it, and it was starting to come up on my TikTok more and more. But I definitely just didn't think that it would be something for me. I thought, these girls can't really be making that much money. I just, I thought it was all a little bit of a scam, to be honest, until I was working in retail. I was working full time as a store manager, and after COVID, retail was just never the same. I don't know about over there, but here, after having that shut down,
because people kind of moved to online. Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, yes, and I loved working in retail. I loved customer service, but we just weren't having the people through the door, and I was going crazy for 40 hours a week for maybe $700. I was like, there's something more that I could be doing and to also enjoy my life more. And I went home and I was like really, really upset. I'm like, I need a change. Something needs to happen. And my boyfriend was like, you're so hot. Why don't we just give this a go?
Yeah, well, every boyfriend says that. Okay. Every boyfriend thinks their girlfriend is hot, but I'm assuming you are.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think so.
Okay. So, I mean, had you ever done anything in your life like this, or what was your feeling, your moral feeling about, taking your clothes off for money? I mean, was that something in your head that you had to battle with?
Some days yes, and some days no. I had never done anything like this before. Still to this day, I don't think that I could do like full service sex work is what we call it when you're like an escort.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do something like that. But I mean, on my Instagram and my social media, I was always, like, I live in a beautiful sunny town. I'm at the beach all the time. So I'm always in, activewear or a bikini or something like that. And I had men ask me on Instagram, like, oh, would you sell me photos and I can transfer you money or something like that? And, I'd never done anything, I guess, like that with the transfer of money, but I knew that people would be interested in seeing more of me.
So
And
were you a bit of
sort
an
like,
were you a bit of an exhibitionist? And I don't mean that in a disparaging way, but I mean, did you enjoy kind of, I suppose, that kind of attention of other people looking at you, and you thought, well, look, I'm good looking, so if I have it, I'm going to flaunt it.
Yeah, in a way. Like, I've been training at the gym for years and years now, and I knew that, like, girls and guys would both be like, oh my God, you look incredible. Like, what do you do? How do you look like that? And people were always interested in, like, what I eat, my gym sessions, and obviously then looking at my body. And I have always been proud to, I guess, show it off. I just always think, like, I'm 25, I'm not going to look like this forever. So yeah, I may as well show it off, and then being able to make an amazing income on top of that as well is, just a whole nother thing.
Okay, so the first day you set up the account. I'm assuming your boyfriend helped you. Okay, because he was thinking of the rewards. So yeah, you set up your account. And what was the first thing? Can you remember the first thing you did? Did you just stand there in your underwear and go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God?
The first thing I did was actually, I had photos already that I had shared with my boyfriend, and it was just in lingerie. So that was actually the first thing that I posted for the first couple of weeks. It was just lingerie and bikini photos, and I didn't actually promote that I had one, had an OnlyFans. I kept it sort of quiet and just sort of would see what would happen. And I think I had about 10 subscribers without promoting anything.
Okay.
Still to this day, don't know how they found me. I think OnlyFans might, suggest people, if you like girls from a certain country or of a certain hair color. I think they can suggest people.
Okay.
So I had about 10 subscribers, and then.
And how much, by the way, how much were you charging for a subscription?
Yeah, I still charge the same as in the beginning. It's $10 per month for the subscription, and then I charge for, like, my explicit content is all on top of that. So once you pay the $10 subscription, I do have bikini photos, lingerie photos. You have the access to messaging me all the time, and then also some nude photos on the feed for that $10.
Okay. And then they can pay more than, I'm assuming, for other stuff.
Yeah, so any videos, I offer like a one-on-one live stream as well, where they can watch me for, say, 5 minutes live at that time. I offer that. Lots and lots of videos, and then things like voice messages or any sort of custom requests are all another fee on top of that.
Okay, and I'm assuming this is sexual content using toys or whatever, or...
Yeah, sexual content. So I do film with toys and things like that just by myself, and then my partner is also in.
Oh, he's involved. Too. Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, yeah. So he has he decided, it was about, I think, it would have been less than that, maybe like 3 weeks in, he decided, once he was seeing what I was doing, and it was completely just
and how much money you were making.
He's like, let's make a video together, because that's the thing that I tell people all the time. You can start with just lingerie and bikinis, but they will always want more. No matter what you post, subscribers will always try and push your boundaries and ask for more and more and more.
And do you find yourself that you're willing to do more and more as time goes on?
I'm quite sexually open, I think, and because I am in a relationship and I have my partner there to support me, we are open to trying some new things, but OnlyFans has very strict guidelines as well with what you can and can't post, and then there is limits to it. I didn't realize there was limits. So what are those? Okay, so Taylor, what are the limits? I guess the biggest thing that people get taken down for is every single thing that you post with another person, they have to have actually filled out a consent form. So anyone who is on the website, there is a photo or a video, whatever it is, they need to have written consent with their identification to have that content out there.
That's a good thing, isn't it? Yeah,
it keeps us really safe. And then there's also some guidelines. I mean, I don't know how gruesome I can get with you guys. But,
okay, it's late at night. It's fine. Go ahead.
Anything that involves like blood or bruising, or if someone looks like they're like struggling and like, you know, say to breathe or being choked, anything like that is immediately
Okay, so
removed
you're not allowed.
from the
You're not
website.
obviously not allowed to simulate rape or choking or anything of that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
nothing like that.
Okay.
There's even words that are banned. So if you say the word drunk, if you say alcohol, if you say meet up, if you try and get a subscriber to come and chat to you on a different social media platform, the message is immediately removed.
Okay. And if you do that a few
Yeah.
times, you could get yourself banned, obviously.
Yeah, you can get yourself banned. So like a couple of times you'll get a warning, and then I think I've known girls who just get their accounts taken down.
That would be disastrous for your career.
Oh my goodness, I know. Yeah, so scary.
Yeah, and this is the problem nowadays. Even I find it because I do a podcast during the day. I don't take my clothes off, by the way, can I point out? But I find it as well that you are relying solely on social media, because I use social media obviously to promote the podcast, and I have a good following on social media. But if you lose that following, or you lose that account, be it on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is, you're reliant on these companies. So that could be the end of your career. So you have to be so
exactly.
careful
I
what you
actually
do.
I lost my Instagram last week and once I tried to log back in, it told me that I was impersonating a celebrity, and that's why they took me down. I ended up getting it back, but just in that moment where I'm like, oh my goodness, my main stream of where I'm getting subscribers from was gone for 24 hours, and you're like, what am I going to do? I have to start completely from zero.
And who were you accused of imitating?
Oh, I don't know. Still to this day, I don't know.
And this is the problem with these
Hopefully
social media
someone
companies when they do something like that or suspend your account for something. I remember one of my researchers going back about 4 years ago. One of the topics we did on the show one night was, should we legalize drugs? And on Facebook, she put an image of some weed and the question, should we legalize drugs? And Facebook suspended us for a week. And because the algorithms obviously seen a picture of drugs and thought we were selling it or something, I don't know. And they banned us for a week. But there's nobody that you can write to or ring and say, listen, hey, you've made a mistake here. You know, there's no way of communicating with anybody.
Yeah, you're just having a simple discussion and they think you're, out doing something bad. It's a robot. It's us versus some automated system that's taking us down. Yeah.
So, okay, what was the reaction of your friends? Because you were talking to Amanda outside one of my researchers and you mentioned something about your stepdad. Your stepfather?
Yes.
What happened there?
So when I first started, I did tell my family what I was doing. I didn't quite tell them the extent of all of the content, but I was like, hey, this is what I've decided to do. I'm going to drop back my hours at work and see how this goes. This is how the website works pretty much. And then just so that they were prepared for when I did start posting like something on Instagram in my lingerie, because obviously my family follow me and I'm like, this is just a heads up, you're going to start seeing this stuff.
Yeah.
And then a couple of days after I became public with it, I had this subscriber and he would talk to me every day. He ended up spending over the time of his subscription, I think 2,000 Australian dollars it worked out to be. Bought all of my content, seemed to be completely obsessed with me, told me that he just found me on Instagram. We'd never met, nothing like that. And then it was 2 months into this subscription, he had joined TikTok with the same name and he was watching my TikToks, and TikTok actually tells you who looks at your profile, and he's viewed my profile and it's come up saying from your contacts.
Oh.
And my heart just completely dropped into my stomach. And I was like, great, this subscriber who's seen all of this stuff I talk to every day, I know who this person is. So I've written down every single phone number in my phone. I crossed out the people who did have TikTok and anyone who it said like invite to TikTok, as in they didn't have an established account.
Process of elimination. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. My boyfriend thought I was crazy. I was sitting there for like an hour writing down all
like
of
a
these
PI, like a private investigator trying to figure this one out.
Yeah. And I was left with 6 people, and one of them was my stepdad. And I was like, it's not going to be this random girl or this random friend's mother. I was like, it has to be him. So I've messaged him on OnlyFans and I said, I know who this is. And he came back straight away. He's like, you don't know me. And I said, you need to tell mum before I do.
Oh.
And yeah, I don't know what came over me. I just had this feeling. I knew that I was right in my gut. And after sending that message, like threatening to tell my mum, he texted me and he said, "Hey, Taylor, can we please talk?" And like just basically confirmed it.
And it was him, your own stepfather.
It was him, my stepdad. So him and my mum had been together for 13 years. I was 11 and in year 5 at school when he became my stepdad.
That's mind blowing. You must be. Were you horrified?
I was horrified. And I have 2 younger sisters who were both living in the house with him at the time. So I actually FaceTimed one of them first and I was like, look, it's him. He's subscribed and
spent I must spend $2,000 with you, for God's sake. I mean,
yeah,
he was obsessed.
Yeah, and then everything just sort of started to unravel from there.
I'm actually starting to shiver here. That's a bit weird. I just find that really creepy, apart from anything else.
Yeah, so creepy. And just looking back now, like my mum had said that he would sometimes disappear into the bathroom for 45 minutes at a time, and she thinks he's just doing his business. And we put all the times together, and it's like my mum has seen all the conversations and the context and extent of everything, and she just looked at me and she's like, I've been sleeping in bed with someone who I don't even know for over 10 years. Like it completely shattered my family. And now
I'm so sorry to hear that. Since. Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that.
It's okay. So, this all happened it's almost exactly a year ago now that we found out. So he's
gone.
Yeah, no one really knows what he's doing or where he's at, but it turns out that it was a bigger porn addiction that he had, and he just, I guess,
whatever about having a porn addiction, to be subscribing to your own stepdaughter and think that you're not going to get caught out. That's,
I know,
stupidity at its best, to be honest with you, and it's also creepy, really creepy. Because I know in your head you were probably thinking back to all the times when you were younger and he was there and, God, was he looking at me like that? And you know what I mean? He must have been attracted to me, or, oh, God.
Yeah, exactly. That my first thought as well was to one of my sisters. She's 21. She's a few years younger than me. And she was working from home, and so was he at the time that this all happened. And I'm like, oh, my goodness, she's with him 24/7 every day. And, she's the first person I called. I'm like, you need to stay away from him if he comes home. But by the time he got home, my mum had kicked him out.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Anyway, so to get past the negative part, that's horrible. Okay. So, I mean, what about the stuff that people ask you to do? Do you ever get creeped out by, people asking you to do odd stuff?
I've only had one, which I've actually turned down. And this was before I knew my stepdad was subscribed. It's just a very weird coincidence. But a subscriber actually wanted me to pretend to be his mum and do a role play, a very sexual, and say certain lines where the mother was becoming attracted to the son as he was maturing. And he sent me this entire script. It was 7 screenshots from his notes app.
Okay.
So it was very detailed, very specific. And he paid me for it, and this was very early on, and I thought I would be okay with something like this, and I kept putting it off, and I ended up just going back to him, and I was like, look, I don't think I'm comfortable with this kind of role play. I just don't feel like I can give you the quality of content that I want to give. So I paid him the money back, and he was totally fine. He's like, thank you for being honest and not taking my money, blah, blah, blah. And then a couple of months later, he resubscribed and is now one of my best subscribers.
Okay, so he was just a nice guy, but he just obviously had a weird fetish. Yeah. Odd fetishes.
Yeah, so once I set that boundary with him where I'm like, I'm not going to do any family role play.
Yeah.
Now he buys all of my content that I send to him, and
But here's the thing: when you're looking at these guys, and some of these guys are saying, "Hey, Taylor, can you stick the dildo here, or can you do this with the dildo, or can you do that with your vibrator, or whatever it is?" You must be thinking to yourself, "Oh, dirty bastards." You know what I mean? I mean, because you know what I mean. You must be thinking, because if you knew your boyfriend or your partner, you're not married to him, sure you're not. It's a partner, isn't it? Okay, so if you knew he was doing that, say contacting, a woman You know, let's say, for example, you weren't his partner, you were just a mate of his, right? But you knew he was contacting women saying, you know, can you do this with your vibrator, do that with your vibrator, take this off and do that, or hang upside down and spin around and do two fingers or whatever. I don't know. I mean, you'd be thinking, oh, God, that's vile. So when you're listening to these guys asking you to do things, are you listening to them with a little bit of contempt?
I mean, I guess it depends. So I make content apart from their requests as well. So there'll be times when, like, my partner and I are like, let's try and, you know, film a scene in the kitchen today, and we'll, you know, have I guess our normal sex and just film it in a different location or in a different position, and we can send that out to everyone, and that's probably our biggest money maker, and one, because it's most realistic to what I actually enjoy and do in my own personal life. So when people come at me with things that are a little bit different, I try and look at it from a lens of like, okay, I'm going to give this a go and see if I actually like it, you know, and try and understand their fetish. There definitely haven't been anything that's too out there for me at this stage. I have had people ask to see me wee. But that's banned.
What's going on?
That's not allowed.
Why? I never understood that. I just don't understand why somebody would want to watch somebody else have a pee. But I just but whatever floats your boat.
Very common, but that's something that I'm sort of like, I don't get that like that. I just see that as a very normal bodily function. I have no interest in seeing anyone else pee.
Okay, and do you do it for them if they ask you to wee?
No, I haven't done that before, but that is something that I have had asked of me. I mean, and I guess with the other stuff that people ask, a lot of it is very normal to me. Like, it's not like they're asking anything crazy. It's just that they see me on the internet, they want to form a relationship or bond with me, and then see me do whatever I want to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like,
no, it does.
Kind of, instead of coming to me and saying, I only like it if you have sex in this position, so you have to do that. Instead, I find that they're more so, I like you, so I want to see you do whatever you want, and I'll pay whatever you want for it.
So you enjoy your job, essentially?
Yeah, I do. It's given me so much freedom, and I guess one of the best parts about it is since I've been doing it for over a year now, every single video that you upload is forever saved in like a gallery for you. So I've now got, you know, months and months worth of content, and anyone new who comes to subscribe, they could ask me, I want this position, or I want to see you use this kind of toy.
And you've probably got it in your back catalogue somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, I probably have it. So even though to me it's, I guess, old content that I've made last year, to this person it's like a whole new world, and I've already got it sitting there. So instead of me thinking, oh no, like I've got to call my boyfriend and see what he's doing so he can come home, we can make this content, I can give most of my subscribers what they're looking for instantly. And so,
many days a week do you work, or many hours a day?
Every day. I do not have a day off unless I'm extremely ill, or
see, that's what happens when you're self-employed and you're making loads of money, is you just want to keep doing it because you know the more you do it, the more you can make. So it's kind of hard to take a day off, isn't it? Or what happens when you go on vacation? Do you go on vacation?
We do go on vacation. Funnily enough, the place that we've gone to the most since doing this is Bali, and it's banned in Bali.
Right. So you don't get to work.
Yeah, the website doesn't open. So
in other words, you don't get to go to work while you're on holidays.
No, and it's been really good to go to Bali and know that the website is, nothing comes up. You just get a blank page every time you try and log in. It's
so
like
you can actually forget about work.
Internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last time we just went 3 weeks ago, we were in Bali, and we sort of went into it knowing that we weren't going to be able to work, but we did come out of it with a really, really cool video because we had a beautiful villa. So we went, and we're like, all right, we're just going to take 15 minutes out of our day, film this video, and then use it when we came home, which is what we did. And ended up with some really good content, as well as having a complete 7 days to not touch it.
I don't have a huge amount of time, but I have loads of questions to ask you. But because you're having sex all the time for money, essentially, you know, and taking your clothes off, it's like, you know, a bus driver doesn't want to drive a bus when he goes home. So, in other words, when you're having normal intimacy with your boyfriend, is it not just like work then?
No, I don't think so. No, I actually had someone ask me this yesterday. I think made our sex life a lot better because we have had to become more comfortable with each other. Because the first time you film and you have a camera in your face and he's worrying about holding a camera as well as doing whatever he's got to do, it's very overwhelming the first couple of times. But now that we've done it so many times, we have the content all sitting there. It's brought us so much closer. And I guess when we have, most of our sex now is not on camera. It's just for us. And yeah, just because it's brought us closer through work, it's making that intimate time so much better.
Well, they do say that people who have more sex actually enjoy sex better anyway. But just finally, in relation to the, the finances, and I don't know how honest you can be, and how much of it you've declared to the revenue commissioners, but you're now doing it. You mentioned that you made 100,000 in 1 week. And that's obviously the pinnacle or the best week you've had, I imagine, or over 100,000, you said. So in the last year, that means you must have made £1 million.
I'm just gonna look at for you right now. I've got it open in front of me.
Okay.
Let's have a look. Because everything is in US dollars on the website, so I have to convert it. So in the last 12 months, I have made 715,000 Australian dollars.
Wow. That's it. So it's going to be impossible for you to go back to a regular job.
Yeah, 100%. I can't see myself ever working 9 to 5 for somebody else ever again because I know that. Look,
if you're doing this for 3 or 4 years, you're not going to have to go back to a regular job as long as you're a frugal person and save.
That's the plan.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm assuming you're saving money now. You're going to clear off your mortgage or whatever it happens to be, and
Yeah, it's especially that week where we made so much money. I had never had savings before in my life because I was, making a few $100s a week, and I'd go out with my friends and party and buy clothes and typical early 20s behavior. So when all of that money was in my bank account, I was like scared to spend it. I'm like, I've never had this in my life. I don't know what to do with it. Even now, I bought a car that was well within my means, and I was just like, I don't need anything too fancy. I just want the money to sit there.
Yeah, well, you're right. Be frugal. Save the money because, look, you don't know when it'll all come to an end. And I hope it doesn't come to an end for you. But, like everything else, all social media platforms, they have a lifespan. All these things have lifespans, and hopefully you get 4 or 5 years at least out of it or more. And I'm sure something else will replace it. When OnlyFans goes, something else will replace that, with something similar because technology is moving on and on and on. Final question for you. At some point, somebody's going to ask you to have sex with them for money.
Every day.
Okay. So would you ever be tempted if the money was right? Because you said to me at the start that you don't think you'd want to do sex work, but isn't that invariably the next step then, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have seen lots of my friends go down that path because of the money, and unfortunately, I do see the darker side of it, and I guess how they feel coming out of that. And like in my personal life, I have not been with many people at all. I've been with about 10 people, and I think that sexual energy has always been really, really special to me, and I really don't think that anyone could give me a price that I would take unless it was Justin Bieber.
What is it about Justin Bieber? I don't even think he's that attractive. I know he's working out again. He's been off the scene for a while, and I know he's working out again. He's supposed to be going back on tour again. Anyway, if people want to follow you or they want to go onto your TikTok, it's Taila.
Everything on the internet is actually Instagram is the best way. Instagram is Taila Maddison, Taila Maddison with 2 Ds. That is the best way.
All right, so it's Taila Maddison. Okay, so if you go Taila, that's Taila. So yeah, we'd pronounce that Taylor, but Taila Maddison. And if you just go online onto Instagram or wherever it happens to be, you will find you there. Listen, Taila, it's been lovely talking to you. It's been a really interesting conversation, and I'm blown away by the amount of money you're making. I'm wondering if anybody give me money if I take off my clothes, but I reckon if I went onto OnlyFans, people would pay me to put my clothes back on again, probably.
People pay for crazier things.
Yep, absolutely. Listen, thank you very much indeed, Taila. Appreciate it.
That's okay. Thank you for having me.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Real people, real opinions, Real Talk Radio. The the multi-award winning Niall Boylan Show.